Hello, hello. Going live. I'm live. Just had the schwitz and yeah. There's a front desk lady who is like kind of pretty, but she's married, I'm pretty sure. But she gave me a compliment. She's like, "You're a beast on the stair climber." Because I guess they have a footage or whatever, like security camera in the gym on the stair climber. I was like, the meme of adult men not getting too many compliments. And I'm like, yeah, the stair climber is like a huge part of my identity now because you complimented me on it. So now it's like, I'm like, shit, I gotta like start training. Is there some kind of stair climber competition I can enter? I gotta make good on this compliment I got. But then, so then I saw her again. I'm always like, ooh, is she gonna? I'm like self conscious when I'm on the stair climber. I'm like, is she watching? I walk out. I'm like, is she gonna comment on my stair climbing skills again? Nothing compared to the mountains in the Northwest. Yeah, I mean, getting out just for reals is good. Thing I like about the stair climber is it's just super convenient and it's all about the schwitz, which the mountains is more about fresh air and having fun in the mountains. Stair climber is more like what I play a game though with the stair climber. I think it might be a good like mental sharpness game because there's a huge window and then there's the parking lot and then there's like houses and up the hill going towards the college or whatever. And I like will look at a car and I start trying to think of stories about the car, about like what's inside of it, who's driving it, why, where they're from, why what's in the car is in the car, if they're waiting to meet someone, if they're picking up something for a friend or whatever, you know. And I'll try and do that for every car in the parking lot and then every house. Or like I usually don't get through them all, but I'll get through like 5 cars and 5 houses, and that takes up some of the time if it's like a 30-minute schwitz, then I'm, like, thinking about I think it's good for the old noggin, but I kind of made it up or whatever. CJ, get those calves pumping. Yeah. So, does creativity increase with adrenaline? That's funny, that'd be kinda cool if it did. I don't know, I don't actually, you know, they say motion creates emotion. Have you heard that? So I would say yes. But, like, you get up in the morning. Oh, well, yeah, you get up in the morning and is always, like, when I'm most creative, and sometimes that's when you're, like, laying in bed, so but then you have a cup of coffee, go for a little walk, that helps a lot. Yes, yes, yes. Let me see here. I'm just gonna throw up the, um, Vatican City campaign here. The summer of indie comics is pretty much here, though. Bancroft launched last night, and he's doing great. Rainey will be launching in about a month. I'm shortly after Rini with Hotel Story, me and Jared with Hotel Story 2. And this one's going now, but this is just for, original art and 3 packs if you want them. 4 people watching, everyone. But yeah, so I don't know. We'll go over some of the remaining art. I was thinking because um some of these, yeah, we can go through and like there's a few of these that like probably aren't gonna sell. Like this one, because this one's kind of incomplete anyway. Issue 2, page 9. Is because a lot of this page got redrawn and I don't have the redrawn art. That's what I gave to Mark Miller, some of that. So this one's incomplete. So like I don't know, like it might not sell. And then I put it on eBay, it'd be like $100 or whatever, maybe 150. But so I was like, I could just like unofficially lower this price to like 150 if anyone is watching and wants it. Because we can do sales just via PayPal too. It doesn't have to be through Kickstarter. There's already been a couple sales through PayPal because Kickstarter only lets you back once. So I'm gonna munch on this pickle here real fast here though too, and then I gotta get a drink of water. But one thing I wanted to talk about too is 28 years later because I saw it last night in the theater. And it was kind of inspirational because it it didn't do what I wanted it to do. So that means I kind of got a free idea because I could do my idea and it wouldn't be stealing from 28 years later because it didn't do it. That's what a lot of inspiration can sometimes come from that. From just like the best version of something you have in your head, then you watch it and it's not like that at all. And you're like, well, these are free ideas than what I wanted it to be that it wasn't. But it was still like, pretty enjoyable. I don't know. You can kind of roast Alex Garland though, because it is like if you check off like the weird woke stuff, I think he must have some of the like the Stephen King thing where he got the woke mind virus at some point, and he's kind of cooked now. He's kind of like a retard or whatever. And so he, because I feel like he might have been a good writer at some point, but I know he wrote that movie Men. Do you guys remember that movie Men? Like nonsensical misogyny movie, me sort of like Me Too ish, whatever. He wanted it to be the Me Too anthem, but it fell flat. And then, so I think he tried again with 28 years later. It's like also about toxic masculinity and misogyny or whatever, and mostly just toxic masculinity. And it's better than Men as far as like that, but it's funny to pack that into a post-apocalypse movie. But so yeah, they do the thing where they, what's it called if they like transgressive against Christianity or whatever. They mess with Christianity. So these are like the woke boxes they check 20 years later. They mess with Christianity. They mess with toxic masculinity. They say that what's it called if you kill yourself for fun or whatever? Like state sanctioned suicide. They are pro. It's pro that. I don't know what else. Some other stuff. And all of this too at like the behest of like plot holes. That's my main complaint is because they're so proud of like their commentary and their thematic, you know, over structure kind of thing that takes precedence over the plot. And so then the plot has all these things that have to happen for the themes to work. So theme is like first. This might be my talk for creative block, by the way. The presentation is like it's like a pitfall in this case to make theme the most important thing because then all of a sudden the plot has to be a certain way to fit the theme. And all of a sudden you got all this plot convenience contrivance stuff and like characters acting stupid, all these tropes, you know, like even for negative tropes, because I like some tropes, but one I really don't like is that's in, I think, two, maybe even almost all of this series of the 28 days, weeks, and years is they have soldiers with guns who get like kind of easily destroyed by 5 to 6 running zombies or whatever, you know? It's like just let them mow them down and like it would be more realistic like if you just think of like okay, you're not going for a theme, just fucking do what would happen. They would mow them down and they would be fine. And then that's your story. Like, just go from there. Because the plot convenience thing is they needed one soldier character, so his whole team had to get killed, kind of. So they had them all get killed in this stupid scene where they're getting chased by zombies, and it's just really dumb. That whole part of the movie was so dumb, and it almost ruins the movie for me. I almost walked out, but I kept watching because I'm like, well, shit. And then there's that single surviving soldier, the crazy mom with uh con- conveniently crazy when she needs to be and lucid when she needs to be, but apparently has brain cancer is the reason, and that's why she gets suicided later. But she kind of magically helps a rage induced, what are they called, the rage monsters or zombies or whatever. She helps one of them give birth, and then the baby that isn't infected with the rage virus. And then the mom, after she gives birth, attacks, and the soldier's there. He blows her away, and then the soldier's like I'm gonna kill the baby now too. Put it down and step away. And they're like, no, she's not sick. He's like, I'll kill you if you don't let me kill that baby. And you're like, okay, and then he like he gets really worked up, and then he's gonna shoot them, but then he gets killed by the big zombie, and then whatever. So like that, it was like plot convenient too. It's plot convenient that he is getting so worked up because he wouldn't in that situation. Everything they were saying was making sense, and it's a baby. Like so, he would have been. He just wouldn't have reacted that way. They had to have this scene go that way for all this plot convenience stuff of what they need. We need one survivor. We need him to freak out, and then we don't need him anymore. So let's just kill him right at the right moment or whatever. Like all that stuff was so stupid. But if you go back to the beginning, before any of this, before any of the thematics that put shackles on the plot happened, right at Act Two. That's what's funny too. I noticed like as soon as Act Two started, it's like the boy leaving the farm, venturing into the mainland, leaving the island. He ventures into the mainland with his mom. He's kind of helping her escape. They're going to travel to visit this like mythic doctor that supposedly lives out in the forest because he wants the doctor to save his mom. So that's like boy on a quest kind of thing, whatever. So at that point, I almost walked out too because it had been so good before that. Before that, there actually wasn't a plot, and this is what the creative block talk might be about is that when it's like randomness is like the thing. So the plot begins like the dad wakes up the son and he's like, today's the big day. It's a rite of passage. It's the boy's first day to leave the island and go to the mainland. And they're like, okay, well, what are you going to do on the mainland? And they're like, nothing. Just it's 4 hours of low tide when we can get out and come back. So we're going to go and we're going to go out there and look around. Then we're going to come back. And they're like, yeah, but what are we going to do? It's like, nothing. This is your rite of passage. We're just going to go. And they're like, yeah, maybe you'll get your first kill or whatever. And so that's the plot, like that, and that is beautiful because that when that's happening, it totally feels like real, like. But that's when you're in this realm of randomness, no thematics, no plot. So these three things, it's like your thematics, they can tie to the randomness, or they can tie to the plot, but they don't go together. You got to pick two, kind of thing, or pick one or the other, like randomness or plot. The second you start introducing plot, then it kind of undermines the randomness. But yeah, so then all of a sudden it just becomes like a movie that you've seen a billion times before. Boy leaving the island, he goes on a quest with his mom. I wonder if he's gonna like become a man by the end, metaphorically or whatever, like that kind of thing. Um, but yeah, and one last little kind of part, and I guess I can try and expand on this for the creative block thing, but uh, so there's all this symbolism and like thematic symbolism, and it's like stupid. That's the problem. So he goes to the island, and the doctor, he's been there for 30 years, and he lights a fire every night, and he goes out there. So and what has the doctor been doing for 30 years? So this is the negative trope is like this is when it becomes not random. Like if he had done random things for 30 years, that would be very realistic. But it's not. He's done one thing for 30 years, and it's burn bodies and then use their bones to build a giant bone pyramid. So he has this one huge like bone pyramid kind of thing that he's been building, and he's been really looking forward to showing it to someone. And it's like it reminded me of Luke Skywalker in like the Return of the Jedi. No, the Rise of the Last Jedi is like they're like, "Oh, what's he been doing for the 40 years since Return of the Jedi?" They're like, "Oh, nothing. He just went to like he became a hermit. He literally did nothing." And that's like it's kind of like lazy writing or poor writing. It's poor world building. So if you did like good realistic world building, if you ignored the fact that you're trying to have this dumb thematic thing. So the doctor's supposed to be symbolic of like the yin and yang of masculinity where on the island because some of the I'm calling him turned because that's what I call him in Hotel Story, but some of the turned the rage virus works like steroids on them and they become alphas and they like rape all the other turned and some of them get pregnant, blah blah blah. They're like silverback gorillas kind of thing or whatever. And and so that's one side of the yin of masculinity, and then the yang is this doctor who lives alone. He's like a eunuch genius. And I only say eunuch because he sexuality is not part of his being at all because he's like alone or whatever. So he's just by himself thinking all the time. Then there's the gorilla guy like raping and pillaging over here. And they hate each other and they like are like kind of having a battle of wits constantly, like trying to kill each other or territorial kind of thing. And so that's like the situation, and it's been like that for 30 years. It's a symbolic situation, and the kid wanders into it. So that's like where you could picture the right, like Alex Garland. He's like patting himself on the back, but this is like it. The other way to do it, it would be so much better. Is if you don't do the stupid. You're just trying to do this, like have your movie mean something and have a thematic thing about toxic masculinity. If you just didn't do that, and then you say, yeah, there's a doctor in the forest, like, or like it would be like a doctor. First off, he would get murdered immediately. That's like the realistic thing. So maybe there's another town and they have a doctor. Like our town doesn't have a doctor, their town does have a doctor. We don't exactly get along, but if you, that's why you can't take mom there. But if you really want to try, the kid's like, I'm going to try anyway. And there was one thing that didn't come up, but doctors, the kid had never met a doctor in his life and they didn't exist after the time he was born. So you would think like it'd be kind of cool if he thinks of doctors in an unrealistic way, like they're magic. And that did not come up at all. But he still acts really stupid. Like he's like, I'm going to take mom to this doctor I just heard about for no reason. Everyone says he's crazy, but I'm going to take her anyway. You're like, oh, that would kind of make sense if you think he's magic because you don't know what a doctor is, but they don't really do that at all. But yeah, so yeah, like if there was like another town and they do some trade, they don't quite get along. They've been isolated the past few years because of like an incident. That town allegedly does have a doctor, and like maybe he, was kind of exiled, but he's still around, and like you can kind of track down this doctor, like just way more kind of like realistic rather than like there's a doctor and every night he lights a fire. He's been doing it every night for 30 years, and he takes dead bodies and he builds a giant bone pyramid. He's been working on it for 30 years straight. He's been alone doing nothing except that. Like that don't make no stinking sense. You know what I mean? Like it's just kind of dumb. Like just do it. That's like why I want to do a zombie movie and like or zombie story and have it be like just kind of regular. Yeah, like do the idea where like there's no plot. Like super regular just zombie kind of stuff. Like I was thinking one, and this might already sort of count as a plot, but like if you have like one idea I had is like two kids kind of running around and they're like teenagers. They're like raiding an old house and like it's already like been raided or whatever, but they're just like kind of exploring. They end up getting like attacked or one of them or both of them get killed by a marauding band or by, but they don't know how many. And then so the men of the town have to form a posse to like enforce justice basically. So they have to look for this whatever marauding band killed these kids. They have to go get kind of kill them. So it'd just be like a Western plot. And like that's all it is. And then like other things might come up and there's zombies and shit. But it's you don't do like hero's journey thematic whatever blah 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 blah. Let me see what you guys are saying. Or 5 people watching. How's it going, everyone? Hey, everyone. Just so I was gonna show you. Yeah, look at this. We're literally like one away from 10,000, and there was uh a couple. No, there was one through PayPal that's not showing. So it would be over 10,000 if the PayPal one showed, but that was a second backing, so it had to be through PayPal. If anyone wants to do a second backing, just hit me up um, on any of these. And we're doing a sale on this one. This one's 150 if anyone wants to buy this one. But yeah, so and then the 3 packs too. So if anyone hasn't got a 3 pack, you're feeling it, you got FOMO, grab one. Those I gotta sell. I think I gotta sell. I forget the numbers. I think I might have to sell 80 to break even. I think I forget, but I've sold like 40 Yeah, I've sold 40. So I'm like, I got to sell 40 more. Not, I'll do that in like the next year or whatever. I'm pretty sure. But I bought these wholesale, I bought one box of each issue. Um, Comics Legend. Hi, Narwhal. When you were working on this book, did you also have in mind meeting a deadline? Yeah, they gave me weekly deadlines to kind of stay on pace for a long project. And I think it was 2.5 pages a week. And that's drawn, inked, and colored. And that was a lot. Like it was I was working weekends pretty much for 9 months straight. Like, yeah, like pretty much 7 days a week. Um, and so took a break. I took, yeah, once it was all over. I almost had a little burnout right at the end, but it was good. If I did it again, I would want to work with a colorist if possible. I trust Jared. Jared's a great colorist. Maybe he could collab. I think that would take off a little load and I could keep a similar pace, but then that's a little less work for me and I could kind of do some other stuff. Because that's the other thing. I had to shut everything else down too. Couldn't do anything else. Let me see what you're saying. AC, I was hoping to be free of that stuff. So that's, I can't remember if I even got to this, but the first third is free of all that. And it's perfect. It's amazing. And there's one other funny thing about it is, so Alex Garland is trying to like write in this toxic masculinity theme through the entire movie. And it's kind of like dumb. And at the end, they kind of tip their hat that they know it's dumb. Because at the end, because it's sort of about, like a boy finding a new father figure kind of thing. Like his dad is toxically masculine, so he rejects him. Even though his dad is like totally the best character in the whole movie, so badass, such a cool guy. And then he goes into the mainland. He sees the yin and yang of masculinity, the extremes or whatever. He sees the eunuch genius doctor. He sees the alpha turned zombie monster killer guy, brute guy. Um, that and how they kind of interplay. And he kind of gets rejected by both of them. Then he's on his own. Then right at the end, he meets like a foofy, weird rock star, blonde haired European. Like it looks like Blades of Glory kind of guy. Like literally looks like, the comedies that Will Ferrell would make about European skating or whatever, or singing or something. Um, it looks like that. Like, and they do it as a joke, and it's weird. But that guy is presented as, oh, you finally found what true masculinity is, and this guy is going to be your father figure from now on. And he's this like Satan worshiping uh and the reason he's Satan worshiping, that isn't super within the context of the movie. It's not as bad as you might think because they set it up. What is bad is they are negative on Christianity, but it's because his dad was a psycho priest, because they can't have like a good priest, obviously, because it's a Hollywood movie. So his dad was a psycho priest, so he reacted against that. So that's the only reason he wears his cross upside down, basically. It's like part of his thing. So it's not like he's straight up Satan worshiper necessarily. But anyway, that part's weird. That's how the movie ends. And apparently there's like a part two, so maybe the dad, the actual cool character, will come back into it. I'm sure they'll like kill him or something. They'll do something. They kind of write him out of the movie on this one because it's weird. When the kid runs away with the mom, you're like, dude, the dad's totally coming after him. And it's kind of a plot hole because they cut back and the dad's not coming after them. He's like sitting and waiting. Like the dad would not do that. Like this movie's weird. But all those problems come after, as soon as like the second act starts, the first act. So anyway, that's what I want to do, is like I want to do a zombie movie where it's literally just the first act and that's it. Um just just like post-apocalyptic shenanigans, like no plot. You know what I mean? Like I don't know. I sometimes say it as like randomness. Like that's what's fun about the first one is the plot is like it's a rite of passage. We're gonna take you to the mainland for the first time. What's gonna happen out there? I don't know. It's 4 hours on the mainland. Like, what are we gonna do? I don't know. We'll see. Like, we'll see what's out there. And that's literally what it is. Like, it's just them walking around and seeing stuff, but it's like really awesome. There's no plot. Blaspheme. Christianity is the only religion that's on the table to insult. Yeah, I think people were saying oh, what's it called? Postal aged well, I think, because it makes fun of multiple religions, all dealing with the Middle East. And this is post 9/11. So they're saying it's kind of the quintessential 9/11 movie. Would have to kind of make fun of like all three religions, or like, or like definitely make fun of Islam and Judaism or whatever, Um, and it does. I think I can't remember what it's from, what year, if it's 2007 or 2004. It's after 9/11, but people were talking about that like recently. It's kind of come back into the thing. Do you have another comic with another big time writer in the works? Wink, wink. No, I don't think so. I'm trying to think what I might be some fun announcements. We'll see, but just I think Hotel Story 2 is like legit. People just get stoked for that. Like that book is gonna be awesome. Cerberus 2. It's kind of like my regular stuff is awesome. I kind of would rather work on that than work with a writer, except for Mark anyway. Norwell talking about the soldiers and zombies makes me think about Mike Barron talking about his thinking of writing stories. Yeah. Oh, and I was gonna say one other thing about 28 years later. So Alex Garland is like pumping in the heavy-handed thematic writing for toxic masculinity, and then Danny Boyle, the director, is just visually adding his own thing that's not even in the script at all, but he just wants to put it in because he thinks it's cool. And his is way better. His is way better than Alex Garland's. And it's like a commentary-ish type thing, but it's that in the post-apocalypse, things kind of revert to the medieval times, and especially like in Britain or whatever, it's almost like it's a time of knights and feudalism again. And he does this by literally intercutting old knight movies with the action in the beginning. And like that's great. That's like cinema. That's like fun. And it's not in the script. It is like it's just him like messing around or having fun throwing some shit in there. And it's funny because it doesn't line up at all with what Alex Garland wants to do. Like I feel like Alex Garland was almost like, "You're getting too many mixed messages, man. You got to stick with mine. Just do my message of toxic masculinity." And Danny Boyle's like, "No, I'd rather do one about that feudalism is back in Britain, and like it's sick, dude. Feudalism's back." And yeah, schizo Luke, intense schedule. Will the sign pack eBay be available at eBay? Yeah, yeah, yeah. I'll email or I'll mail like 20 or so stock to the gentleman who runs the eBay store. 4 hours on the mainland. Now that could be a sick art house movie. Yeah, it's fun. Like that's kind of all you need sometimes, and then that would be like the movie. That would be like, that's like what Stalker. Although I kind of remember Stalker being boring, but that's like what Stalker was kind of. If you guys remember, that's like a famous movie, and that one is like we're gonna venture into the no go zone. Um, and actually maybe there was like a little bit of a quest thing involved with it, but it is funny. You're like, so what's out there? What's gonna happen? I don't know. We'll see. Like it's just random. Like that means it kind of those kind of stories. There's like no setups, payoffs. It's just like it would even be like the type of story if you're like, I'm gonna travel west in a straight line for 7 days straight. Actually, you know what stories like that is the swimmer. He's like, I'm gonna walk home and I'm gonna stop at all my neighbors' pools on the way home. And you're like, okay, is that the story? And you're like, well, what happens? Like, well, every pool is like a short story kind of thing. They're all these little adventures. And it gets kind of like the Odyssey is like that. You know, like every stop on their journey is a little story. Yeah, this could almost be a little bit more like what Danny Boyle wanted to do. And it's so much better than Alex Garland. I'm kind of surprised he still works with him. I also wonder how they feel about that ending, each of them individually. Like, I wonder if Danny Boyle added that to make fun of Alex Garland, and Alex Garland didn't like it. He's like, no, don't make them goofy. They're supposed to be the ultimate version of masculinity, like me. Make them like me. Show the kid me. Trading cards, Ashcan. Yeah, I don't actually get what that is. That sounds cool though. Will Mark Miller retweet? He probably would. I kind of don't want to ask. It's doing good enough on its own. I've thought about asking him like if he knows any art collector types who might want to get an early narwhal, but some of that just happens naturally anyway. Like anyone who collects art, you know, they'll hear about me sooner or later and they'll buy some. But I also think it's kind of fun. It's like you guys know before anyone else to buy a narwhal a ridge and see what happens with my career or whatever if it keeps going up and everything. I heard they filmed it on an iPhone. I thought it looked great. Yeah, and it reminded me a little bit of the first movie, but the first movie is really low res. Uh, but yeah, it looked really good, and it made me kind of think of the first movie as being pretty good and looking good. But yeah, I think the first movie is like 480p or something. I kind of want to rewatch it just to like see. And this is definitely like 4K or whatever. Here's my short story. Traveling humanitarian goes to third world countries and gets some kind of disease that makes him turn into a dinosaur and he eats people. That sounds fun. That actually sounds good. So actually, for what we're talking about, you could imagine two ways to do that. So imagine the Alex Garland way, where he's like, I'm gonna make it a commentary on the white man interfering with tribal lands and how the white man and colonialism and toxic masculinity always messes everything up. Or you could be like, dude, I just like dinosaurs and this motherfucking dinosaur is about to eat a ton of people and then get it fucking blown away by locals. You know, like one is like trying to be thematic, one is just trying to fucking be badass. Or like one is more like trying to be like, what would happen if this actually happened and we want to tell a cool story? What would happen? The other one's like, oh, and then we got to have this because it'll symbolize this. Then we got to have this because it'll symbolize this. You end up with all these like plot holes, or people acting dumb or whatever. That's what a lot of what 28 years later had. I find this stream to be homosexual. Von Kolema. Kolema. Is that the real Von? What's up, man? We're in the era, we're back in the era where faking being gay is funny, by the way, I'm pretty sure. That was like circa 2008. We've, I think we're back. We are so back. Faking being gay is funny again. For a while, it wasn't funny. From either side, don't. Why do you think it's funny? Like it's serious. Being gay people are special. Don't fake being gay because you think it's funny. It's not funny. It's serious. They're special. The other one's like, if you fake being gay, you're actually gay, and I hate you. For a while, that was kind of the thing. Are there spoilers? My dang LCS didn't get a copy of Vatican City 3 in yet. I haven't spoiled Vatican City 3. I've been spoiling 28 years later. And for this, we're just chilling. I'm letting you guys know, like, look how close it is. It's been like this for a day. It's bothering me. So we'll go live in another 25 minutes, but I'm seeing if I can convince anyone to grab a page or grab a 3-pack, and we'll get it ever so close to over 10K. We got to hit that 10K number. Today's films is tasteless. Yeah. I'm curious about Nolan's Odyssey. I wonder if it'll suck. I hate Matt Damon. I like the Odyssey. I wonder how he would do it. Because I feel like the Odyssey is kind of straightforward. So if you just do what it's supposed to be, like they've done that a bunch, and maybe you just do it. Like even they kind of get confronted and trapped by a cyclops at one part, and then they like hide under sheep to escape. But the cyclops gets one of them, and Odysseus tricks him a little bit, and that they like did some negotiating and blah blah blah. I'm like, are they just gonna do that? Or is he gonna like write a new version of everything or have it flow? You know what I was thinking too? Like the Odyssey, that one of the most interesting parts of it is the part where he gives up for like 4 years because he kind of finds paradise. I talked about this on a stream a while ago too, and I kind of need to fact check myself, but he kind of gets like, it actually reminds me of a Batman story. I think it's Batman. There's a Batman story where like the Riddler actually puts Batman, you find out at the end, this is the twist, but the Riddler puts Batman in a matrix. And the matrix is giving him everything he ever wanted. He gets to live a perfect life and he's happy. But he ends up rejecting it because he knows it's not real. And then he catches the Riddler, and the Riddler's like, I gave you everything you ever wanted. Why? Why didn't you just accept it and be happy? And Batman's like, because it wasn't real. Something like that. And that's like, that happens to Odysseus in the Odyssey. Same thing. He gets like trapped, but it's just paradise. And he lives there for like 4 years or longer. I don't know. I think eventually he just leaves because he has a girlfriend while he's there. It's like one of the goddesses or whatever. And she's great. She's like perfect and nice to him. And I think, I'm trying to remember, I think when he leaves, it's just like kind of like a breakup. She's like, don't go. And he's like, I gotta go. She's like, come on, don't go. And he's like, no, seriously, I gotta go. It's been 4 years. I really gotta go. She's like, all right, see you later. I'm like, is that gonna be in the movie? Put that in the movie. Yeah, I did. The trailer. Yeah, it's pretty cool. That was a lot of fun. It's fun because I could spot my panels that he had put into the algorithm or whatever. Some of them were like based on my shots. Absolutely is the real Vaughn. Definitely me. That makes me think it's not. And that mustache. Von Kolma. Matt Damon. Batman Odyssey. Yeah, or like it, and one, it's like proves that happiness is not like the ultimate goal for like anybody really. Because if you get it, you're like, yeah. um, yeah. 14 people watching. How's it going, everyone? Guys, we're trying to get this over 10K. We're gonna see. Has everyone gotten their 3-pack? If you haven't got your 3-pack yet, grab it. I think a lot of you just bought them as they came out, so you don't need it. That's the thing. Um, but grab a 3-pack, grab a page, get this sucker to 10K. And if it doesn't go to 10K, then maybe it will soon. Because sometimes you just kind of got to put it into the ether or whatever. My pickle is kind of dripping on me a little bit. Do you think permanent dried pickle juice is a good thing or a bad thing on a shirt? Think the smell of tainted pickle juice is good? Maybe not. Maybe I have to change my shirt after this. Um, but yeah, let's look at real fast what's sold. Delay, some of this might be borderline spoilerish if we look at art. Just FYI. So the yo-yo page sold for $1,000, which is awesome. The vampire lore page sold for $1,000. I actually sold the Vampire Queen page off of Kickstarter, but it was on PayPal for $1,000. So a lot of the $1,000 pages are issue 3, page 14. This is possibly the best drawn page, just flat out. Because there's pages I like more or whatever, but this one was priced high just because it. But it's also like a crowd shot, so it's pretty detailed even for me. Because I don't know, I don't draw like super detailed, but this looks detailed because there's so much to draw. But it's not like it takes too much longer to draw. It's just like there's more there, so then you just draw it. Turned out really good. That one sold. Uh, issue 1 cover sold. Issue 1 Vampire Splash sold. The other splash on issue 1 sold. The end splash on issue 1 sold. So issue 1 splashes. The issue 2 cover sold. Issue 3 cover sold. Issue 1 splash. This was just $350. That sold. This one sold. This one sold. 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 We're getting into the 250s. 200. Sold. And that one. So that's all that's sold. And then, yeah, so what's still available. This is another one that's like the best drawn in the book. Maybe it's the splash on issue 3 with the vampire horde jumping down. That one I'm surprised hasn't sold yet. But that the 1,000, I wasn't sure if those would sell, but they're selling. And it is because they're like the best pages. But that page is awesome. Definitely worth owning. There is an element of like, it feels like could be kind of fun to just buy one and see if it does like go up in value. One thing about my original art is like not flooded the market either. I mean, there's 80 pages. That might sound like a lot, but it's one book's worth because half of what I do is most of what I do is digital, so there's no original art. And before this, I've only sold like 10 original art pieces, maybe 20. So anyone who has those are kind of fun too if you own any of those. But this is one. Wonder if we can find this one on here. Here it is. So they're outside the church, burning the church. Here's all the smoke. I really like how the smoke turned out. Um, the billowing kind of like ashy smoke from the fire. The way it's inked, it looks. I'm really happy with how it turned out because that was I think I talked about previous stream. A lot of this stuff, I'm kind of like inventing the style as I go, so I got to find a way to draw smoke that looks cool, that looks like it's the style. It has to look kind of like confident, look, yeah, whatever. And definitely, I mean, like, definitely got it for the smoke at least. So that's why that page is cool. This page is 1,000 because it's another one of my favorites in the whole book. It just looks pretty good. Them looking at the church, they're like, we're not really rendering the floor. It's kind of like bottom lit with mist almost kind of thing. Kind of a Magnolia-esque thing that would be. And it looks really cool. I just love this. And I think I mentioned this idea of splitting the panels like this is kind of fun because it can give you like this is like a rhombus shape, right? And from here to here is the longest point. So we want our image that we have to fit in, we want some verticality to it so we can tilt it to get that verticality. Whereas if this was in a flat panel, it'd be hard to fit in a tall window getting broken in the distance. Within the foreground, our characters are crouching. And then superimposed in the background are the bad guys talking shit. So it's kind of this collage kind of thing. And then, but because we tilted it like that, we get this space to have the kids down here. Like they're implied. We show enough of them that it kind of implies more space. It kind of feels good for what it's implying. And then we tilted it like that. So we get this extra space down here and we get this extra space up here. So all the extra space up here is used to give us more smoke and more of that feeling of verticality for the church. Um, so it's kind of like a win-win. And that's a lot of what I was doing with the layouts is finding the two biggest panels, finding kind of like the win-win of the split to give them their extra corner, to give them more verticality when they needed it, and putting them next to each other like that. Like I do this a lot, like I do it here, uh, do it here, do it here, do it here, kind of. Here's the splash. 15 people watching. What's up? Dylan, I got one of your Grail Knight pieces. Nice. Dale, I mentioned this, but I really liked your medieval comic. It was good. You know what? It was a little bit. Were you here earlier, Dale, when I was talking about 28 Weeks Later and how you can have something a little more random, a little less plot, a little more realistic of like that's what happened. We're not trying to be clever. We're not trying to be thematic. We're not getting stuck with weird plot holes because we're pushing in thematics or whatever. That's like what your night story was. It was just like it was like a journal almost. It's like a knight goes here, he gets posted here. This is what happened over 6 months. Over the 6 months, like one sort of adventure kind of happened. uh and that was like awesome. Like I really liked that. Like I'm kind of into that vibe. I want to do multiple stories that way of more random, less plot kind of thing. Like my favorite story is like Dawn of the Dead. Dawn of the Dead is like shit hit the fan. I own a helicopter. Let's go. They go. They're like, we're gonna run out of gas soon. We need to get gas. Let's get gas. Like we need to stop to sleep. Okay, we can stop on that mall, I guess. And they're at the mall. They're like, I've been thinking maybe we could fix up this mall. Maybe we could stay here for a while. Lay low. So they fix up the mall. Like it's like random, It's like, but that when you do that, you get zero plot holes. Because the characters are just doing exactly what the story is just exactly what they would do. In that moment. Um. So what else? Oh, we're looking at art. Oh, what sold and stuff. So this is another one. Is that one up here? Issue 3, page 21. That's down here. This one. This is another $1,000 page because I love how it looks. But you got the down shot on the church getting burned. You got the cool smoke. billowing. You got Carl superimposed here screaming. Carl screaming some more. You cut to our characters kind of below or whatever. Um, the double page splash of issue 3 is $1,000, which I feel like that's a good deal. That one hasn't sold yet though, because that's just 500 per page to do the full double page spread. None of the double page spreads have sold yet. Someone could, in theory, buy all three, and all three are aerial images of St. Peter's in Vatican City. I think it would be cool to see all three at once next to each other. But if no one buys them, I have them, so maybe I could do that. But I think they're affordable too because the other ones are 500 for the full double page spread. This is 1,000. So for 2,000, you could get 3 double page spreads. They're all aerial of St. Peter's at various stages of the story. And if you look at them too, they represent like the phases of the story, kind of the beginning, middle, and end of what happens of St. Peter's. Has the I've Got a Pill for That page sold? I think it did. It did sell. You know who I think got it? I think Adam Lawson got that one. But yeah, that's a good one. Did the headshot page sell? You can see. No, this is the headshot page. So the actual headshot page hasn't sold yet. It's 500. That's one I would think would sell too. The headshot page is iconic and awesome. Is Steranko's Outland, is that like based on the one way or the other, the Sean Connery movie? I kind of want to look that up now. And The Killer, I don't know what that is. That manga or I know a movie called The Killer. It's just kung fu or it's John Woo movie. Oh, HR says yes. Which one came first, HR? I assume maybe the comic came first. That's usually that kind of switched though. Back in the day, it might have been the movie comes first. Here's the other double page spread. Hasn't sold yet. Page 1 of issue 3 hasn't sold yet. That's another good one that uses the split panels verticality. It's kind of the best example of that. And it was the first page where I like realized that's what I was doing. Had a little clarity and focus going forward. A little mini bar for me to like level up and take for issue 3 to go the rest way of issue 3. So page 1, issue 3 is a good special page. Hasn't sold yet. Page 3, the car smashing page hasn't sold yet. That's a good one. The page with Jesus on it hasn't sold yet. That's a good one. Now we're in the 350 tiers. Issue 1, page 2. That's a bunch of development art and just one awesome panel that could be framed. That's 8.5 by 11, I think. But the actual page itself, that was an early page, so it didn't even have a board. But a lot of pieces of art for that one, so that would be like a good fun buy if anyone ever wanted to buy that one. Issue 1, page 3. Yeah, 2 versions of that last big panel. That was a level up early on. Like it got redrawn. I really liked the redraw. It helped me going forward. Issue 1, page 5, package 2. Yeah, panel 1 got redrawn 3 different times. So if you buy this, you get all 3, and they all look pretty good. But that's just kind of interesting. Seems like people aren't they might not be quite as interested in that as I thought they would be. I kind of thought this one might sell pretty fast, but it hasn't sold yet. Issue 1, page 15. It's the action page with the redraw of the guy's face of Guido. Issue 1, page 23. Page 223, the splash where they're all eating dinner. Just some good issue 3 pages here. This one's good too. I probably will post this one on Twitter, issue 3, page 5. Eventually it'll get like a little shout out. Posted this one this morning. Yeah, a lot of these. This is kind of a good one that hasn't sold yet. Another high detailed, fun action one, issue 3, page 17, where they're smashing through the car and busting out of it. I can see that one selling. This one, the last panel, I wonder if I can pull that up too, but down here. So it's issue 3, page 19. So it's this one. This panel turned out really good with the vampires jumping the plane. Yeah, this is one that's a lot of fun. Looks pretty good, if I do say so. Yeah, that's one that like, I don't know. I kind of don't mind if this one doesn't sell because I really like it. That one I could almost see trying to charge more for it, but so 350 is probably a good deal for it. Whatever doesn't sell next in November, I'm gonna do a for like maybe half of what's left, so maybe like 10 or 20, 10 to 20 other pieces that are left. Do it eBay and just kind of see like some might go for higher, some might go for lower. But see what kind of unload those too right as the trade comes out, and maybe some more eyes on it by then. Diagonals is action. Were the redraws personal changes or changes Mark suggested? Um, he never suggested redraws. He's pretty sensitive to that. I could see like he doesn't want to like tell the artist to redraw anything. So yeah, it was all me. But there was like one page really, and I think it was in issue 2, where he was like, "This one's reading wrong. What can we do to fix it without redrawing it?" And we were both kind of brainstorming, and it was the page that I can show you guys. Oh yeah, scroll all the way up. It was this page, issue 2, page 9, which got redrawn quite a bit too, just from me redrawing it. But then even after that, it was the layout that was reading in the wrong order. And so we are tinkering with it quite a bit, and it still kind of wasn't working, and he was getting like nervous a little bit. And then he was like, he had an idea. He's like, "Can we like flip the art? Like don't flip the lettering obviously, but just flip the art and just see how that looks or whatever." So we did that and that worked amazingly. So that was cool of him to like think of that and think that have the vision to see that would work. And then you just re-letter it over the flipped art. Yeah, and it's not like the rooms they were in are like symmetrical kind of, so it didn't matter. It didn't mess with like screen direction or whatever eye line. It didn't mess with any of that. It all worked still great. Actually, I think because this is flipped. Like in the book, this is all flipped. It's the other way, and in this page is this way. Where are my glasses? I got my contacts in because I went to the Y, but I can only wear them for like 2-3 hours. So I'm gonna have to take them out again. My eyes get dry. Romy, what's up? Break the stagnated rules. Yeah, I'm in a phase now where I'm like never going back to like regular paneling, even though like yeah, you might say like this kind of paneling, you like only do it for action when you need it. I'm like, I'm gonna do it for dialogue too. I don't care because I just like it more. Wrong, wrong. I say. Uh, 17 people watching. It always more people come in right as I'm about to end the show. Always takes about an hour. People start. I'm still only halfway through my pickle. Every bite, it just drips tons of pickle juice on my shirt. My shirt is waterlogged from the schwitz. I'm trying to re-schwitz myself. Yeah, but I don't know. Let's see. This is how close we are to 10,000. Anyone watching? Pick up a 3-pack signed. Pick up a page. If anyone wants to get a second page, just DM me. We'll have to do it through PayPal, but the only problem with that is then it doesn't show up here because this is the number I want to get higher. Alex VRB, I missed the pickle stream. Yeah, see, look at half. I've been eating real slow. Spicy pickles. Hey, can you bake pickles? Is that weird? I was thinking about that today. Thinking about baking some pickles. So I don't even know. But yeah, hitting an hour. Probably get out of here pretty soon here. 37 backers is good so far, though. I hope it keeps going up. I hope it doesn't stall out completely. Well, I'm sure we'll have a good last day or whatever. Some FOMO people coming in. Um, but yeah, let's see how it'd be nice to get a few more backers on this in the next few days and whatever. The next thing for me too, this will fulfill pretty quickly. Just unloading some of that original art would be nice, get it out there, and then kind of just chipping away at stuff. But then August 5th is a pretty big date because that will be Hotels 2 launching the collaboration with Jared. And that book turned out great. It's done. And now we're actually going to send it to a couple people for like quotes. You know, I thought about sending it to Mark Miller, but it's so long. I think there's kind of an unwritten rule amongst the pros where they send each other 20-page books. Like, here's my new series. Here's the first issue. But they do not send each other 240-page books because it's just like too much, kind of. So I don't think I'm going to do it. I'm not, and unfortunately, it's not. It isn't even the type of book. Although this is kind of a good thing, and because now, I don't know. Everyone's into the episodic issues, which I'm into that too. I'm doing that with like Percival and Naked Samurai. But for the longest time, I wasn't into that. So Foreign Agent, Earthbound, Hotel Story, they almost like can't get broken up into issues. They have to be read just like as graphic novels. They're kind of more like movies. They're like totally awesome pacing from beginning to end. But yeah, no like breaks beyond just like standard like dramatic breaks or whatever, which sort of work, but it's not quite the same. Um, but that's kind of a good thing about it is that but it means I can't just even send like the first 20 pages because there's no like breaking point. But I am thinking of who I can possibly send it to. And I'm thinking about if I wanted to try to like network some more off of Vatican City, I would use some pages from issue 3, some of the really good pages, because some of them are like, pretty good, honestly. Like totally, totally good enough to give me some jobs or whatever. And I could send them to like some editors at Marvel, DC, Dark Horse, whatever. Send them to some artists, send them to some writers. I could get those I could do that. I haven't done it yet. I'm still kind of just in the back of my mind. Two things. I don't want to get pigeonholed as just a writer or just an artist, even though that might be okay or whatever. I don't know. I don't. Um, and then yeah, and then I might want to just work on my own stuff if I can, but I don't know. Like if I could like do a stint like at Marvel or something, that helps get your name out there. And then you go back to doing your stuff. So I don't know if that's even possible, but I would consider all that. But I haven't even like kind of tried yet. Still got my books. I'm super busy every day just getting those ready, getting them ready. But Hotel Story 2 is a big one. Will it have original art? Uh, if it does, it'll just be like a few pinup style illustrations, not the book. The book's drawn digitally. But as you said that, I'm like, oh, we should do some pinup illustrations and sell them on the campaign. Uh, would you ever consider writing a superhero story? Yeah, I'm trying to think. There's like types of stories that are like sort of superhero-y. I like, I forget what they would call them, like superhero coded. Like maybe One Piece, like a lot of mangas almost like that. Like manga One Piece is like that. Um and that I love that. I could write that. But for some reason superheroes, just straight up superheroes, like hard for me to wrap my head around. Other than I think I could do Batman. And I want to do Superman. But that's kind of hard. And I don't know like the lore like the back of my hand or anything. But I have an idea of how to write Superman that I think would work, is if you kind of write him like Star Trek, where it would almost be like a Star Trek episode where it's like he can do whatever he wants. So the issue is, how do you make everyone happy? Like a lot of Star Trek episodes are like that. Like Star Trek is all powerful basically. The technology they have is almost godlike, and they're dealing with these planets where, like, I think there's one where Kirk, I'm thinking of the original series, where they visit a planet that like they don't have war anymore, but instead of war, they do a random drawing for euthanasia of each other's populations respectively, but it's only a percentage of what a war would die. So instead of millions dying in war, they each have to sacrifice 10,000 people per year, both sides, in lieu of a war. And so Kirk kind of walks into this situation, and the girl he has a crush on gets selected for sacrifice, and he's like, this is like a totally outdated system. And they're like, it's preventing war. We'd have nuclear war and millions of people would die. This goes with the treaty to stop all that. It's a small price to pay to avoid nuclear war. And he's like, yeah, but it's stupid. You guys are just dying for no reason. They're like, no, we're dying for a good reason, good cause. We're saving lives. He's like, no, you're not. It's throwing your life away. Like that could be a Superman story, kind of like just swap Superman in there. Like you're kind of arguing. You could stop them, but then maybe they're right. Maybe that does mess with the shit. So you got to figure out what to do. And I forget even how Kirk solves that. I think he does kind of like stop him, but there's like two threads to the plot. He kind of has to get you know, the leaders talking or again or whatever, and then stop that. Blah blah blah. Kind of renegotiate a treaty, and all that poses problems, and it's like that kind of thing. Like, so yeah, if you're all powerful, there's some biblical stories might be like that. I don't know. I'm trying to think. Um, like even like King Solomon or something. But it's a fun type of story where you're like, you can have anything you want. You're all powerful. You would think that that would be like OP and boring. You're like, no, it's not. It's actually like even harder. Good luck solving any of these problems. But you definitely gotta like kind of play it right or whatever. And I don't know how often they do that type of story for Superman. I'm sure that's in the repertoire, but that would be my favorite if they did. I kind of want to find some examples of that. I wonder if that maybe the TV show might have a fair amount of, because it's a little less actiony sometimes. Twilight Zone style plus Phantom Zone. TNG did it too. Totally, yeah, yeah. It's like that TNG style. Superman works for that, so you could tell some Superman stories that way. Superman enters the public domain in like 1930 to 2034. So like almost not 9 years, I guess. And I'm talking to Mike Murphy too, because Mike Murphy named his son Clark, and he loves Superman, and that's his dude he would want to write for if he could write for him. And I'm like, dude, he's gonna be public domain anyway. Just you write it and I'll draw it. So I think that is like pretty sure that's gonna happen. Like, so I will be drawing a Superman story, but it'll be public domain, but it'll be 2034. And then I also kind of want to write one myself and draw it. I want to do some Superman. And Mark has a thing he says, Mark's doing that too. I think he's doing a public domain Superman. But he says artists that are too impressionistic don't work good for Superman. And that's what people say about me. They say I'm impressionistic, but I think I could like deliberately, because I think that's true, but it doesn't mean I can't like change how I draw. So I think I could like find a style, force myself, whatever, find a style to kind of fit with it a little bit better. Sark says, "What up?" HR says, "Aha, I can see you, Green Lantern. That clever stuff. Well, that could be cool." Yeah, yeah, Batman would be cool. Yeah, I'm trying to do that now. Um, but I don't quite have the budget yet. I finished Cerberus 2 was like that. Hotel Story 2 is a collaboration with Jared. And then I'm kind of doing like Earthbound, but I'm also collaborating with Brendan where he wrote one and I'm drawing it. I'm starting that soon. We've been doing like pre-production for years on it actually because it's kind of been stalled, but we're getting that started. It's called Scarlet Magic manga. That'd be awesome. But I have another one prepped with Monica that will go the second that we get money. And actually, if this magically hit, oh, we got a backer. Look at it went up a little bit. Oh, 9923. We're so close. I'm glad we got a little backer while we're live. That's fun. 24 people watching. If you guys want to keep the ball rolling, anyone else hasn't picked it up yet, thinking about it, got that FOMO, go ahead and jump in there and grab it. Grab the 3-pack or a page if you want to grab a page. Um, yeah, I'm doing a little stream special too. I think on this one. If you want to buy this one off Kickstarter for 150, uh, which is the one page that Mark Miller had the note on to flip it, so it's different than the comic, which is kind of cool. But it got redrawn so much, and I don't have the redraws. That's why it's so cheap. Crap. No, I forget what I was saying though. Yeah. Oh, if this hit 20K, say that, I think that pretty much puts it in the zone where I can just kind of start working with Monica again. Um, and we kind of green light that. And that one, 27 people watching. I can kind of pitch that one to you guys a little bit, maybe. Um, that one is the story co-written by Mike Murphy, who I've talked about, who's great. I was just talking about him writing Superman. So he and I, early on, I liked way early in like Comicsgate. I identified him as a talented individual, so we were chit chatting, and I wanted to work with him. And then I had an era where I had a budget to like hire a fair amount of people, so he was on that list. I think we had some kind of false starts where it just wasn't nothing was quite like rolling greenlit style. But we like revisited one like a year later even, and kind of with a new take on it. And he kind of got an outline going, and then off of his outline, I wrote a script, and there was like some back and forth. But I think a lot of it was a lot of like the really awesome aspects of the ideas were like his. But it's like it's a satanic Hollywood story, but it's involved with a Star Trek TV show that has multiple generations. So that's the second version of this TV show. So there's older actors who did the original series, and you find out the entire TV show is a cult basically, and the head captain of the old show is like I think he's like dead or something, but he's like the leader of the cult. Now I'm like shit. I don't want to give spoilers, but so then the comic though, you get one. It goes between an issue, or it goes between an episode of the second series of the Star Trek show, and then the actress who dies in that series. It goes through her real life experiences for how she pissed off the producers, so they ended up writing her death end to that episode, and that episode is actually a cult ritual for her real life death that will happen 10 years later, and then it cuts to 10 years, and like shit in her life is like kind of like she's getting very paranoid that something's wrong or whatever. Um, and that's like the story. It's only 100 pages too. It's like 100 pages in and out fast. Graphic novel style. When I now the way I use graphic novel style sometimes is like that means it's not 20-page issues, which is awesome, and everyone's talking about that, which I love. All my new stuff is like that. But yeah, all my old stuff is not like that at all. It's like there's no stopping point. You have to read the whole thing in one sitting, kind of thing. Uh, Gospels are full of things like that. The Pharisees present Jesse with a problem where either yes or no is going to cause a problem, but he outsmarts them. Yeah, that's what I'm talking about. Um, I don't even know that story of what you're. I don't even know who Jesse is, but now I want to look it up. Yeah, I think a lot of those, like even like whatever, like Samson or whatever. I think maybe David. All those guys uh had that kind of stuff going on, and it's really cool. Blocky soups, horns chat, Jesus, Jesse. Oh, Jesse. I was like, I didn't know there was Jesse in the Bible. I ain't heard of no Jesse. Picked up VC number 3. Sweet. Thanks, John. Jesus, not Jesse. Oh, you had me. I was like, is there a whole section of the Bible that I've never heard of? I was like, wouldn't put it past me. I'm like, I guess I gotta watch a few YouTube videos. That's more my style for exploring the Bible these days, anyway. Uh, do great parodies of superheroes, like superheroes if they got save all the bullshit to start going crazy. Those 3 packs are a great deal. Yeah, if anyone wants to grab one, we're getting close to where just the 3 packs alone will take us over 10K. If we sell like 2 3 packs, then we're right there. Tasha Yar. I don't know. Oh, that's funny. Yeah. I mean, I don't know. I think this like story that me and Mike are doing is like in that vein, kind of. Book of Daniel. What? There's a Daniel in the Bible? There's so many normal names. What did Daniel do? Daniel. They asked Jesus if they should pay taxes to Rome, because if he says yes, then the Jewish people would be mad. If he says no, the Romans could arrest him. Yeah, yeah, that's cool. I don't know the thing is those are hard to think of, but I think a lot of times you can repurpose older versions of those stories. I mean the one that's famous too. It is the King Solomon one. It's the woman, whatever. Both women say the kid is theirs. That's like good luck solving that one, Superman. How are you gonna do that? You can't. Uh, so then that's the story kind of thing. But that's like a metaphor for that kind of story. The Book of Steve. Yeah, see what I'm saying? Book of Steve. Yeah, that's cool. Now you got me thinking that the Book of Daniel is not real and the Book of Steve is not real. Oh, Jesse was in the Bible and he was King David's father. That's cool. So yeah, there's still a lot going on. So we'll see where it all goes. I don't know. I got to get some books out, get the word out on the books. I think Hotel Story 2 could make a quote unquote splash. I think it's a little better than my other books, which is good. And Cerberus too. Those two are kind of like a new high water mark. Earthbound's got its charm, of course, but yeah. So hopefully, just people recognizing and it kind of just helping the old career. We'll see where it goes. Yeah, I'm not even sure. And then Percival, of course, is gonna be awesome. I'm still writing that one. That one could end up being kind of a huge project. I don't fuck with no Caesar. That Empire Straight Gangster. Book of Stephen. See, that's sweet. Yeah, I was thinking about just buying one of those and reading it myself because I've only read like a little bit of the Bible. I have one, so I could read more. But I read Sodom and Gomorrah like last year. It made me laugh. I didn't know that it's like 2 pages. Like you could read it in like 5 minutes. Shit. Yeah, this was kind of the issue with the sales. Like it's kind of a ordering issue. So like the sales, they're good and it's selling out, but the orders aren't super high. So the sales aren't super high. But I think it's still like above average for Dark Horse. Still doing okay, but especially like compared to uh, you know, Absolute Line or whatever. Um, it's not even close to those books. But yeah, we got our one our one sale here though. So yeah, I think I might get out of here. I can feel my eyes drying. I got to take my contacts out and put my glasses back in. I'm pretty much done with my pickle. I got one bite, but I can't choke. Maybe it's 2 bites. But yeah. But yeah, thanks everyone for being here. I'll catch you guys later. I'm gonna end the stream. See everyone around.